Decolonize Sports. We're here with assistant coach Bruce Codd. Tough opener, 16-9, loss to Team USA. What was the message in the locker room?
Well, I think it was, hopefully it'll serve as a bit of a wake-up call. I think, some of what tonight's result was a bit of a, self-inflicted wounds, right? Obviously, the amount of penalties that we took, was put us in a really tough spot. So hopefully we, I guess basically it was, let's learn from some of the mistakes that we made and make sure we don't make them again.
Yeah, I mean, the minutes were 20-6. Tactically, how do you solve that? How do you change that moving forward?
Well, I think there's some little ones, right, that, like just the risk-reward kind of scenario, right? It's like you take that extra step, you get a hit in, but, there really wasn't necessarily, a benefit to doing it, right? Late in the shot clock or something like that. So things like that is just kind of like, knowing the like I say, the risk reward and making sure that, what you're doing is, we'll kill off usually the hard working ones. It's those kind of undisciplined ones that usually, end up in your net. So, just be a little bit smarter, I guess, is really what it comes down to.
Yeah, and honest question, is the game called differently in World Lacrosse versus they're used to playing NLL or MSL, or is there a difference?
Certainly for the majority of our guys coming from the MSL, I'm sure the game was probably called a little bit different tonight. I mean, I often joke that sometimes you can bring a weapon to an MSL game because there's not a whole lot of penalties called. But the NLL those were 3 NLL referees that we had tonight. So there should be no surprises in terms of the way that they're going to call it. And we were warned too about some of the stuff that was going to be called, right? So I don't think there was any surprises as the officiating. I don't think the officiating was by any means poor tonight. I thought it was more to the decisions we made.
Cool. And 2 more, I'll get you out of here. Bright spot, Randy Stotts, 4 goals, 2 assists, really led the offense. First off, what did you see from him? But then also, how do you get him some help down the line?
Well, I think, I said, as the defensive coach, I think we gotta own a lot of that. The amount of penalties we took, that's, whatever you said, it was
20-6.
20-6, right? So you just think about the amount of minutes that they've got the ball when our offense doesn't, or if they do, they're 4 versus 5. So I think we really made it hard on our offense to get into any kind of rhythm. So I think that would be one of the biggest things is, again, it goes back to the discipline thing. But, but when we had that little stretch there in the second quarter where we outscored a bunch, right? You saw like Randy was creating a lot of that stuff with using his, his size to either set seals or to, set a pick and push off and roll to the net, right? So I think we had some really positives there. We just weren't able to sustain it because we were either, we were shorthanded or, we were, chasing the game the whole night, and that makes you kind of play faster than what you want to. So I think those were the big things. But yeah, he was certainly a bright spot. But Zeddy Williams, when he got up there a couple times too, just what he is as a big, strong man, and he used that, right. So those are some positives. And I think the other thing, when you look at it too, is the score was ugly down the stretch or whatever, but we didn't quit too. So having that kind of, just keep plugging away mentality is going to be something that'll serve us well as well.
Yeah, and last question, it doesn't get any easier, Canada, but at least you get a day off. Just kind of what's the message, what's the plan to regroup and come back on Sunday?
Yeah, I think, like I said, learn from some of those mistakes. So obviously tomorrow we'll have get a chance to watch some film. And it's been kind of hard to, maybe you've got guys coming from all different areas, so maybe we'll be able to kind of pick some things out on film and kind of say, okay, here's what we were talking about, and kind of get everybody on the same page. So we'll have a lot of film and a lot of, just self-reflection. I think everybody too, right? Okay, we gotta redo some things differently. So I think that's stay positive, stay working, but let's also, not hitting a panic by any button by any means, but let's make sure that's, a wake-up call, and that's all it is.
Cool. Actually, one more for you personally.
Sure.
I don't know your background with Haudenosaunee, but just kind of talk about what this experience is like for you and what it means for you to be a part of this organization, this journey.
This is actually, something that I never ever, saw in my lacrosse future. I'm obviously a Canadian that, growing up, I've always, so many of these guys on this team I've coached against, like Randy Stotts. I'll be the first to admit, it's probably my favorite lacrosse player. So to be able to work with those guys like him and Jammer and Zeddy Williams and Lyle Thompson, this is just a surreal experience for me. And the fact that get to do this and to work with great people, they've been so welcoming. This is like I don't even know how to put this into words how special this experience has been, and it's something that I definitely don't take lightly and really relish.
Cool. Well, we appreciate the time, Coach.
My
we'll
pleasure.
see you around.
Thanks very
you.
much.
All right.
Thank you, Coach. Appreciate it.